All right, I just want to welcome everyone. Hello, my name is Mary Angela. I'm the director of the Center on the Hill. Thank you all for joining us today for the Healthy Brain. We've got JERALDINE Kohút here with us, and we're very pleased to have her. I just want to give a quick reminder, please keep your microphones on mute until the question and answer portion. Then she'll ask if there's questions and you can unmute yourself. I can also send a little request to unmute if you're not sure where to mute or unmute yourself. So thank you again for joining us, and welcome, JERALDINE. Thank you.
Oh. Hello, everyone. It's so wonderful to be here. I enjoy so much presenting programs and just getting to see everybody on my computer, and hi to everybody. I see some very familiar faces and names, so thank you for joining us today. As you know, I'm the community liaison for Cathedral Village, and I provide health and wellness courses for older adults. So today's topic is brain health as you age. And I think that is so good because, you know, everybody seems to think about their heart health. And, you know, you go to the doctors and they talk to you about different things that you should be doing, either eating properly and exercising and all of those things, but they really never talk about brain health. Brain health is very significant because the brain is actually in control of that heart. So I think it's always funny that people really focus on heart health, to the point when you go to, let's say, a Denny's or any of the fast food restaurants, you know, that you're going inside to eat. Well, when we were able to go inside to dine. But anyway, on the menus of many fast food restaurants, they'll have the menu and you look at it and you notice under certain foods, like broiled salmon, you'll see a little heart, or broiled chicken, you'll see a little heart, or a vegetable platter, you'll see a little heart, connoting that that's healthy for you. So I think the brain doesn't get the justice that it deserves, because it really is controlling that heart. And brain health and heart health are equal in what you should do to keep your brain as healthy as your heart. But I can imagine, if you can see on the screen, I don't think you'd like to see that little brain that's on the screen next to your broiled salmon. So that's my little clue about how important brain health is. Aging and your health. Well, aging, it does depend on your genes, your environment, and your lifestyle. We can't do too much about our genes, but today I'm really going to talk to you about environment, and most importantly, your lifestyle. Lifestyle choices may really help you maintain a healthy body and brain. Again, the same thing I mentioned, it will be body, but also your brain, which is so significant. Age-related changes in memory and learning. Well, as we age, you might start finding that you're forgetting something, such as increased difficulty in finding words. It's on the tip of your tongue, but you can't get it out. Or has anyone walked towards you and you think, oh my God, I forgot her name. And it's not going to come to you right away, but that's kind of, it happens. Also, sometimes you have problems in multitasking. And as we age, probably you should not multitask as much as you did when we were younger, because it is hard on your brain to keep track, and that's normal. Mild decreases in ability to pay attention. You know, you go to, a lecture, a movie, or listening to me talk today. You may not pay attention as much as you used to be able to. Now I can see you on there, so I'm going to see, are you alert and you're trying to keep track of what's happening on the screen? You can still learn new things. I think that is so significant. We don't want to retire from life because we've retired from a position, or you're just, slowing down a little bit. We have to learn new things. And I always say, creating new memories. There's nothing like going back, if you're looking at a photo album and you say, oh, I remember that trip that we took. Isn't that wonderful? It's like we just did it yesterday. And that's wonderful. You want those memories, but we want to create some new memories, and new memories do help your brain. It also, you want to improve your vocabulary and language skills. There are some possible risks or threats to brain health. And as we progress, I'm going to go through each one of these topics. Some medicines or improper use of them can cause a risk to brain health. Smoking, that's a definite risk. Excessive use of alcohol, the diseases that many folks as we age do have, heart disease, diabetes, and other health problems. A poor diet. Now, sometimes you do lose your appetite as you age. So therefore, you might think, well, I'm just going to have a cup of coffee for breakfast, nothing else. And then all of a sudden, at lunchtime, you're really hungry. So that, you have to really watch your diet and what you're eating. This is a biggie, insufficient sleep. I think we really don't factor in to the lack of sleep or not sleeping well during the night. That affects not only your brain, but your entire body. I mean, you just don't feel well. And a lot of people after the age of 65 do have problems in sleep. Lack of physical activity. Well, COVID has not helped. Actually, COVID hasn't helped a lot of these topics because, we just could not get out as much. We were in lockdown, and physical activity also, as the winter is approaching, perhaps you were able to get out a little bit in your backyard or something, but that lack of exercise really does hinder your brain health. Little social activity and being alone most of the time. If I had to rank, and I love to rank things, I think lack of social activity and being alone or not socializing in any way. Right now, we're all socializing. I can see people here. I can see people that are where I can see somebody and I don't see the names. Audrey, I can see you have looks like a wonderful library wherever you're Zooming. So, but it's so important to socialize. So here I am on the first topic, medicines and brain health. Some medicines and combinations of them can affect your thinking and the way your brain works. So first of all, I always say, if you go to your doctor, let's say you're in good health and they want to see you just every 6 months, or maybe you're really lucky and they say only annually. Go over the medicines that you take, because in this world of medicine today, we may not just see one doctor. So one doctor might order something for you and somebody else says, oh, well, I want to try you on this drug because you say that you're not really as agile as it used to be. So maybe it's just your muscles. So we're going to give you this muscle relaxant. So when you go to your doctors, make sure that you take that medicine list along with you. So they could say, well, I didn't order that. And you go through this whole process, what the other doctor has ordered, so that you're sharing all information to only keep first of all, the medicines intact and your brain healthy. Smoking and brain health. Well, for years since, do you remember Dragnet? I used to love Joe in Dragnet. He had that cigarette hanging out of his mouth all the time. Well, that was in the 50s, and that was okay. People didn't really think about you shouldn't smoke and the problems that it causes. So we see less and less people smoking today, but those hardcore smokers still smoke, and it does affect your brain. The benefits of quitting smoking at any age: it does lower the risk of heart attack, stroke, and lung disease. There is better blood circulation. A big thing, not exposing others to that secondhand smoke. So people are better than they used to be, but there still are people that smoke, and it is detrimental to your brain. Alcohol's effect on brain health. So if you have a drink, you become, especially as we're older, slower or impaired communication among brain cells, even with moderate use. Therefore, you might have poor driving. You shouldn't drink and drive, but you might. Slurred speech, fuzzy memory, drowsiness, or dizziness. That fuzzy memory is very significant. Long-term changes to balance, memory, and emotions, coordination, and body temperature. So therefore, there are long-term effects of alcohol use. So staying away from alcohol can reverse some of these changes. And I I am and certainly not, saying to anyone, don't have that glass of wine with dinner or just to give it up. We're saying everything in moderation. But you have to realize that as we age, these are some of the effects that you may have with your brain health. Common conditions that affect brain health: heart disease and high blood pressure, very significant. All of these are like diagnoses that people as we age have: diabetes, Alzheimer's disease, and I also add dementia, which is the signs of Alzheimer's disease, but it is not Alzheimer's, which we'll talk about a little bit later. A stroke, traumatic brain injury, depression, and sleep problems. And there we go again. These conditions are affected, but sleep is really a hazard to your brain, or lack of, I should say. So heart disease and high blood pressure. Heart disease and high blood pressure can lead to stroke and blood vessel changes related to dementia. Now, how do you reduce the risk? And that's what we want to learn about. Every time we're talking about something, how do I reduce that risk, which has potential to help my brain if I reduce the risk? First of all, control cholesterol and high blood pressure. Excuse me. So control cholesterol and high blood pressure. That means eat healthy foods. Everyone knows, what foods you should not eat, but eat healthy foods. Stay away from red meats. I'm not saying totally, but have chicken, salmon, a beef patty without a lot of fat. Certainly these things do help. Exercise is key. Quit smoking, we already talked about that, and limit the use of alcohol. Diabetes damages blood vessels throughout your body, including your brain. So people think, well, diabetes, I have to control my sugar, but you don't realize that you can have, with diabetes, increase your risk for stroke and heart attack, may increase risk for memory problems and Alzheimer's disease. So the disease of diabetes have other effects. People just think, well, my sugar's up, I have to take my medicine because I want to be able to eat properly and not go into, let's say, by mouth diabetic medication into insulin. So you really have to watch that diabetes and what you eat. Maintaining a healthy weight through physical activity and healthy eating can prevent or control diabetes. So everything that I'm talking about, I always say, and preface it, talk to your doctor when you go, especially if you're not feeling well, or all of a sudden you start getting a feeling of a little bit dizzy in the morning. Make sure that you report anything to your doctor because something could be brewing. Here we go with Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's is a buildup of harmful proteins in the brain. It's actually the death of brain cells and loss of connections among them. Alzheimer's was discovered by Dr. Alois Alzheimer's. It was discovered in 1906. So think of that. It was discovered in 1906, and we still do not have a cure for Alzheimer's disease, although there have been so many things that we can do to help that person, but we still have not found the cure for Alzheimer's disease. And Dr. Alzheimer's, actually, he was a neurologist, and he had a patient named Augusta Duterre, and she came to see him, and he mentioned, "Why are you seeing me today? What problems are you having?" And she said to him, "I feel like I have lost my mind." Well, that clue for him realized that there was something actually damaging in her brain, and he created the idea that it was a disease that they could not cure, and the disease was named after him, and that was 1906. So anyway, with Alzheimer's, known risks: age, genes in some people, or a head injury. So when I say age, you're not going to get Alzheimer's as we age, at 80 years old, but it is a risk. And I'll talk to you a little bit about other issues with Alzheimer's disease. Some suspected risk with Alzheimer's disease: you can have heart disease, high blood pressure at midlife, lack of physical activity, depression, or diabetes. Now, again, suspected risks. That doesn't mean if you have heart disease, you're going to have Alzheimer's disease, but it is a risk. Some therapies can treat Alzheimer's symptoms. They do not slow down the disease's changes to the brain, so the brain is actually damaged with Alzheimer's disease. But some approaches show promise in reducing the risk of cognitive decline or Alzheimer's. They need to test more. But again, looking at the things that you need to do: exercise, healthy diet, controlling high blood pressure, heart disease and diabetes, and cognitive brain training. So again, all of this, we're talking about brain health. We're going to see these basically 3 or 4 things: exercise, healthy diet, control high blood pressure, heart disease, and diabetes. So these things are very common to prevent or keep at bay some diseases that do occur in the brain. I added dementia. Dementia is an umbrella term associated with decline in memory. That's significant because sometimes people are not aware, and they'll hear somebody has, their neighbor was just diagnosed with dementia. So right away, they go to, oh, that person must have Alzheimer's. Dementia is just a decline in memory, gradual loss of mental functions. It does interfere with daily life, so does Alzheimer's. It's caused by physical changes in the brain. Now, Alzheimer's disease accounts for 60 to 80% of diagnosed cases. So one of the symptoms of Alzheimer's disease is dementia, but there are other causes for dementia. A person with dementia, they have confusion. That confusion may not cause disruption every hour on the hour. Alzheimer's, the person is unable to do anything that would be appropriate for their daily living. They cannot live alone. Dementia is just pure forgetfulness, can be caused by a stroke. A person that has had a stroke, depending on the part of the brain that is affected, can have memory loss, which could be cause of dementia. So there's very different things that can cause dementia, but it does create forgetfulness. Brain injury. Older adults are at higher risk of falling and other accidents that can cause brain injury. And we all know, as we age, we don't want to fall, because what is the first thing you think of? First thing you think of is not brain injury unless you hit your head. It's I've fallen, I can't get up, and I must have broken my hip. You lay there, you don't get up, you try to call for help. But older adults are at higher risk of falling and other accidents that can cause brain injury if you do hit your head. So how to reduce it? Here we go again. It is exercise to improve balance and coordination. Take a fall prevention class. Make your home safer. Review medicines and vision with your healthcare provider. You can wear safety belts and helmets, especially there are people that are, we call them in the medical world, fallers. They bump into things, they're more prone to accidents. And the other thing, it's always a bullet point here, to get enough sleep. So you really have to be alert for brain injury with the fall risk. We have occupational therapists can come into your home if you have fallen a couple of times and you're worried and you've talked to your doctor. You can order an occupational therapist, and it's paid under Medicare Part B, to come into your home for just a safety check. You know, let's see, you've fallen a couple of times, you live alone, you're in an apartment. Let's have the occupational therapist to come in and find out if there are any issues with your home. So she comes, she knocks on the door, she comes in. Hi, my name is Mary Smith. I'm your occupational therapist. And she meets you, you chat a little bit, and she explains, I'm just going to walk through your house to see if there's anything that I can recommend for you to prevent you from falling, because you haven't gotten hurt, but we want to keep you that way. So she walks in, and what does she see is the first thing, a scatter rug on the floor. remove, because that's how so many people trip over a scatter rug. It's something that it could be a wonderful old scatter rug that you love, and you've put little rubber things underneath it to prevent it from slipping. Well, they always slip, and you're going to slip and you're going to fall. So she goes through every room, even in your bathroom. If you have a bathtub and you're trying to get in it, well, that's probably a safety issue. And she'll recommend other things. If you don't have a shower, she'll recommend trying to get some type of a different situation in your bathroom. But there is a tremendous fall risk as we age. Depression, feelings of sadness or loss of interest in favorite activities that last for weeks at a time. So this is not, sometimes you hear people say, well, I'm really depressed, and well, actually, probably what that person should say is, I really feel a little sad today, because depression is something that it's sadness or loss, but it doesn't just come and go. It lasts for weeks at a time. True depression lasts for weeks at a time. It's not a normal part of aging. Also, some medicines can cause depression. So when you get a new medication, you pick it up at the pharmacy and you open it, and there's like multiple pages that you can't even read, especially if you need your glasses to read it. Sometimes those flyers you need a magnifying glass plus your glasses to be able to read everything. But I recommend that you do, because there are so many things that can that it's still safe, but they want to make sure that it may be an untoward side effect, and you must know that so that you can tell your doctor, I read this and all of a sudden I'm dizzy when I stand up, and they'll say, okay, let's talk about your medication, and they'll say, we can either change that to make sure that that doesn't happen. We can change your drug, or if that you get a little dizzy when you're standing, you don't want to fall, that means that you have to get up slowly and just stand straight. Don't walk right away. So these are things that really you have to be alert to, especially some medicines that can cause some depression. Confusion or attention problems caused by depression can sometimes look like dementia. And I talked to you about dementia already. It's that short-term memory loss, and it comes and goes. So just be alert to that, and it can cause depression. Treatment of depression can involve therapy and medicine. So don't feel depressed or sad for any length of time, because it probably is something that you want to talk to your doctor about. Sleep apnea. Okay, this is really so significant. Sleep apnea is short pauses in breathing while sleeping. It can lead to injury, high blood pressure, stroke, or memory loss, all of which can affect brain health. Treatments of sleep apnea begins with lifestyle changes such as avoiding alcohol, losing weight, and quit smoking. There are special devices ordered by your doctor that may also help. And I'm sure that if you have had sleep apnea, and some people do have these devices by your bedside, that it's like sort of a pressure device, and it makes you breathe in and out appropriately. You have to wear a mask over your face, and it will almost not control, but monitor how you're breathing. Now, those devices used to be huge. They were the size, if you have an air conditioner outside, a big, not just a window air conditioner, but they were the size of a huge air conditioning unit. And people didn't like them. They were at the bedside. They made so much noise. So if you had a partner sleeping with you, generally they had to move to another bed because they were so noisy. Now these devices are as big as a shoebox. Now I'm saying this is over not too many years. They realized that they had to do something for a person that had sleep apnea, but these big, monstrous units in their bedrooms just did not work. So I would say within the last 10 years, these sleep apnea devices are now about the size of a shoebox. They're portable. If you're going to travel, You can, if when we go back to traveling, you can just take it on, if you're flying, you can take it with you on board. And this way you feel like you've got it, it's safe. And it's so nice because you will no longer have that issue of pauses in breathing at night. So what can you do to protect brain health? Well, there's many actions that you can take. First of all, take care of your health. Your brain needs the same kind of a diet as a heart healthy diet. So remember that. If you are heart healthy, you're also brain healthy. Eat healthy foods, be active, learn new things, connect with family, friends, and communities. And I said socialization is key. When I say learn new things, anything that, I'll talk about what you should really get into, but let's say you're not sure about, how to spell a word. And you haven't used that word for a while and you're writing a note to somebody. Pick up that Webster dictionary. Learn something new all the time. Just do not stay stagnant. Take care of your health. Get your recommended health screenings. That's so key. Manage your health problems. Again, diabetes and high blood pressure and high cholesterol. Always consult with your doctor or provider about your medicines. That is so key. Reduce risk of brain injuries due to falls and other types of accidents and quit smoking. So we know we're repeating, but these are the key things that can keep your brain healthy as we age. Eat healthy. Fruits and vegetables are wonderful. They really are. I always try to have a small bowl of apples or pears out because it's a reminder that fruits are so good for you. Eat lots of vegetables. Whole grains are good. Whole wheat bread is good. Meats are fine, but make sure that they are lean. Fish and poultry are great. Low fat or non-fat dairy products. I know I love yogurt. And, I really have to read the labels for yogurt because, you could be absolutely killing yourself with yogurt. They taste delicious and all that. If you get a strawberry yogurt with the strawberries on the bottom, they're full of calories and they're not low fat. So really watch your dairy products. If you have like milk, buy the 2% milk or skim milk. Less solid fat, sugar, and salt, proper portion sizes, and adequate fluids. When we talk about proper portion size, I think everybody knows, first of all, you have to look at your plate and just try your very best. If you have meat or chicken, a starch, and a green vegetable, perfect. But portion sizes, you think you're eating healthy and then you go back for seconds. Another clue for portion size, I've tried this and it really does work. I bought when we were first married, Armatel. It's like a pewter plate. I just love them to death. Well, the first thing I found out with the Armatel, they're not dishwasher proof. You can't put them in the dishwasher. So I really did not like that. And this is like 51 years ago I bought them. But anyway, they're big plates. I have now gone to like a smaller plate. That smaller plate, it looks like you have a lot of food on your plate, but you're controlling your portion size, and it really does help when you're trying to eat healthy. And also adequate fluids. I keep a bottle, and I recommend keeping a bottle of water in your refrigerator, at least I would say for sure 16 ounces, and empty that from the morning until around 3 o'clock, and then fill it again just to see if you can get 32 ounces. And it really is good for you. The more fluids that you can consume in the day is very good for you. It helps your whole body. Get moving, absolutely. Physical activity, it reduces the risk of, here we go again, diabetes, heart disease, depression, and stroke. It helps to prevent falls. Why? Because your body is used to getting up and getting out, or getting up and getting strong. And it improves connections among brain cells. Well, if I know that physical activity improves connections among your brain cells, I would suggest that we all do it. And they recommend 150 minutes of exercise each week. Move about 30 minutes on most days, which would be 5 days a week, and you've got your your enough exercise for that week. Walking is a great start. Now, again, COVID has really been a hindrance for anybody that wants physical activity. Even walking around your neighborhood is just perfect. But we were in lockdown for so long. And then my husband always says about COVID-19, they really don't know where COVID-19 is. They say eat outdoors, or, you can absolutely, if you want to have a gathering of 10 or 14 people for Thanksgiving. I just love this, 10 people for Thanksgiving, but eat outside. I mean, that's really not conducive to anything. But again, all of this is just saying that being outdoors and trying to walk around your neighborhood is just so good for you. Join programs that can help you learn to move safely. Check with your healthcare provider, again, if you want to start a program, to make sure that you are able to do that. And the Ys, now they're opening again, and they have wonderful programs for adults. And I suggest if you have any type of program, either a Y or a group that that has a program for exercising, it's so much better when you exercise with another person. Or also, if you keep that date, you go to the Y, they have active older adults, 10 a.m., go to that program, keep moving. I always say also, if you're watch television, and especially winter's coming and you don't want to really go around the block too much, and I say this, if you're watching television, you all know every 10 minutes there's a commercial. So it used to be every 15 or 20, now it's every 10 minutes. I've timed it. So every 10 minutes you got a commercial, stand up and move. Move your arms, your legs, walk a little bit, sit down for the next show. If you do that for a 30-minute show, you've got 10, 20, you've got your 30 minutes just about. So you do it, you're up 3 times and you are going to be part of Get Moving. Now, it's not the best thing to do, but I'm saying if you want to cheat a little bit, try that, and at least you'll get your exercise in. Keep your mind active. Do mentally stimulating activities. Read books and magazines. Play games. Learn new things. Take or teach a class. Be social through work or volunteering. I think we've got to keep our mind active during these times. Certainly, COVID has not helped us much because we don't get out as much as we used to. Things are closed down. We had a time when things started to open up again, and Philadelphia were just sort of going backwards because of the number of COVID patients that are coming on board. We just have more and more every day. There's that count that comes up every night, and it's just discouraging. But we have to keep our mind active. I think reading is wonderful. Sharing books, going to a book club if we could get together. I think book clubs are absolutely wonderful. And the first time I went to a book club, I forget the book, it was so many years ago, but I read it thoroughly and I really didn't like the book, but I wanted to be prepared. And it was the first time that I went to this book club. I wanted to be prepared in case somebody asked me a question or something. Well, I went to the book club and everybody was meeting each other. Again, I hadn't been. And then we sat down, and then the host had like coffee and desserts. And I think they talked about the book for 5 minutes, and then they chatted the rest of the hour. So anyway, joining a book club is fun, and also you're socializing. Stay connected. People who have meaningful activities like volunteering say they feel happier and healthier. People, especially volunteering, say that I get so much more than I give. I just love volunteering, and it's just such a wonderful give back, and it's part of staying connected. Social activities are linked to reduce risk for some health problems, including dementia. Join in social and other programs through your area agency on aging, a senior center, or other community organizations. I think in Philadelphia, we are blessed with all of the programs that you can go to, attend. There's lots of free programs that you can get involved with, volunteering at your library, anything that gets you, number one, out of the house. Always try to do something with a buddy, because I think You have a tendency to not let your buddy down. So you're going to do it a little bit more if you were just, it's a rainy day and you were going to volunteer someplace and you think, oh my gosh, I have to get out in the rain and all that stuff. So if you have a buddy, it's always good. Oh, here it is, socialization or buddy up. Staying socially engaged is key. Pursue activities that are meaningful to you. Find and/or search ways to be part of your community. If you love animals, consider volunteering at a local shelter. Enjoy singing, join a local choir. Offer assistance at an afternoon school program. So I think these are all things that you have to really start thinking. And I hope we're talking about the healthy brain, will trigger some things that you can do, because the biggest thing you can do is keep that brain healthy, just like you're keeping the heart healthy. The heart is easy because you just immediately go to diet and exercise, but it's the same thing for brain. You have to keep yourself active and engaged. What can you do today? Pick one thing you can do that may help your brain. Think of small first steps, such as, I'm going to take a 10-minute walk a few times a week. Remember, I said a 10-minute walk, because some people get all energized and they say, okay, I am going to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and I am going to walk around my neighborhood from 6 to 7 o'clock, and I'm going to do it. And it's a bright sunny day, and that first day she goes out and she goes out by herself. All of a sudden, next day, she doesn't want to do it because she walked for an hour. She walked alone. You have to do these things to make them really stay with you. Think small first steps. So taking a 10-minute walk a few times a week, it gets you out. All of a sudden, that 10-minute walk, I know it's going to lead to 15, because here you got all dressed up in your jogging outfit and you were only out for 10 minutes. You're going to do it much longer. Adding 1 serving of vegetables each day. And again, small steps. Making an appointment for health screenings or a physical exam. That's really so important. So what you want to do is write down what you will do and when you will do it. Get support from family, friends, or community groups. So I think that is very key, because you want people to know you're doing it. You want people to say, how are you doing? Are you doing your walk every day? That keeps you motivated. Really doing something. So this is what I'm going to recommend to all of you. Take out a sheet of paper after the program. Divide the paper in half. On the left column, list 5 activities you enjoy and have fun with. So I listed mine. Here we go. Shopping, watching TV, cooking, visiting a friend. I drive the same route to arrive at a familiar place. So that's what my 5 activities were. Kind of boring. Okay, so now we want to do something a little bit different. So one half of the sheet, what you do now. The other half, what you think you should do, or what you think will help your brain more, instead of shopping or watching TV or driving the same route every day. Take a class. Oh my goodness, January is coming. Take a class. It's wonderful. And they're all going to be virtual now. So that's really, it will help your brain. Any form of meditation or prayer is wonderful for you. Put that on your list. Write letters to friends afar. Letter writing is something that is old. People don't write letters. You go to the mailbox, what do you have? A bunch of ads. Letter writing is something that is significant. 1, makes you sit down. It makes you pick up a pen and you've got paper in front of you. It gathers your thoughts. You can be writing to a friend that maybe you haven't even talked to for a couple of months. And you think, well, what would I write? Well, ask about her family. Ask about what she's been doing during these COVID times. Write that letter. It doesn't have to be long. Put that stamp on it and send it off and see if you get a response back. Probably what that person is going to do is call you up and say, why did you write this letter? It's something to do. And letter writing to a friend is just wonderful. Start a dinner group. Okay, so you have maybe 3 friends that, you all get together. We'll do it as a dinner group. Come over to my house, 5 o'clock, everybody brings a little something, and you've got a group of people. What did I say in the very beginning? Socialization is key. So start a little dinner group. I already talked about joining a book club. Change your route when traveling to a familiar place. Oh my God. I take the same route. I very rarely turn left. I'm always seeming to be turning right. I never change my route. Once I know how to get to a place, I will not change it because I am so directionally challenged. I think if I would change my route, I would end up probably in a place I shouldn't be anyway. But it's a good thing. Change your route when traveling to a familiar place. And you're not going to get lost if it's a familiar place, but that's a really good thing that you can do. Also, I'm going to recommend, there is Brain and Life Journal. It's neurology for everyday living. It's a free journal for an individual with a neurologic disorder or their family or caregiver. You can go online and look up Brain and Life Journal. It's wonderful. And I just hope that you would try that because it is free. And in the book that I just looked this up to make sure I was accurate for the telephone number, it says for an individual with a neurologic disorder or their family or caregiver. Believe me, if you are interested in this journal, Brain and Life Journal, and you go online to Brain and Life Journal, and you can click on that, and they really are not fussy. They're so happy to share the journal with you that you'll be able to get it. Or if you want to call, you're going to call 1-800-422-2681. And that would direct you to Brain and Life Journal. You can order it and it is free. And I have been getting it for years because it's so informative. Again, 1-800-422-2681. I'm just going to mention a couple of things. If we were all together, I have a cartoon of the brain doing different things. Now, if you can imagine, it's the shape of the brain, as I mentioned before, and the brain is exercising, and he's eating all hard, healthy foods. It looks really odd. It's an odd cartoon, but there are 35 pictures of a brain doing something that I had just talked about: exercising, physical strength, eating healthy, reading a book. It's just really cute. So that's one of the things, and I think that's really funny. And also, do not retire from life. And I think that's really a good thing. Strong sense of purpose, match your purpose, and nurture different roles. I think that is so good. You don't want to retire from life. You've retired from a position, or you're just sort of slowing down, which is a good thing, but don't retire from life. Our brain does not operate in isolation from the rest of our body. The 25% of the oxygen and blood from every heartbeat is designated to the brain. So brain health is compatible to all systems of our body. 25% of the oxygen and blood from every heartbeat is designated to the brain. Isn't that amazing? So if you find your pulse in your wrist right below your thumb, every time it beats, 25% of the blood goes directly to your brain. So things are just really, you've got to have a really awareness of how important brain health is. Now I'm just going to read you something that it's something that is near and dear to me. And oftentimes I will end a program with this. And if you've heard it before, I apologize, but it's very special. I really heard this at a funeral that my husband and I attended. It was his best friend, and he died at an early age. He was healthy, but 55, he died. So the pastor said, I want to read something to you, and it's a little bit about life. And the title of what I'm going to read to you, How to Live Your Dash by Linda Ellis. I read of a man who stood to speak at the funeral of a friend. He referred to the dates on his tombstone from beginning to the end. He noted that first came his date of birth and spoke the following date with tears. But he said what mattered most of all was the dash between those years. February 26, 1942 to February 3rd, 2020. For that dash represents all the time that he spent alive on earth. Now only those who loved him know what that little line is worth. For it matters not how much we own, the cars, the house, the cash. What matters is how we live and love and how we spend our dash. So think about this long and hard. Are there things you'd like to change? For you never know how much time is left that can still be rearranged. If we could just slow down enough to consider what's true and real, and always try to understand the way others feel, and be less quick to anger and show appreciation more, and love the people in our lives like we've never loved before. If we treat each other with respect and more often wear a smile, remembering that this special dash might only last a little while. So when your eulogy's being read with your life's actions to rehash, would you be proud of the things they say and how you spent your dash? So I thank you all very much for listening to me and always attending. I so appreciate Mary Angelo for having me on every, once a month. And I will say, January 21st, I'll be back again, and it's going to be on World War II, the role of the home front. It's really an interesting program, so I hope you can attend. Again, January 21st, World War II, the role of the home front. Are there any questions?
If you want to take the time now to unmute your mic, you can ask questions now.
Ted?
This is Claire. May I ask my question now?
Claire?
Yes.
Go ahead, and then we'll get back to Ted. I think Ted must have been on unmute. Okay, so Claire, go ahead.
So sleep is so important, but I was wondering if you had some tried and true tips to sleep better.
Well, you're talking to a person that does not sleep well at all, but I've tried every tried and true trick. I think I've actually gone to a doctor because I just don't sleep well. And they, right away, I don't mean right away, but they did prescribe a medicine. And I'm just sharing that because I didn't want a medicine. I just wanted a miracle. So I did take this pill and I took it for like 5 days. And it wasn't me. I wasn't myself during those 5 days. I could really see a difference. So I didn't take the medicine. And now I'm serious because I said, here, the doctor thought enough about my issue because I wasn't sleeping. I have to do it myself. So these are the tried and true. First of all, I used to watch television late, maybe after the news at 11, 11:30. I don't do that anymore because the news is not good. But that's a tip. Don't watch. If you're a television watcher, you should really turn that television off by about 10 o'clock at night because your brain, it still is active. So if you saw like Special Victims Unit, that's one of my favorites anyway, if you saw that, well, you're sort of wired. And, it's just not a good thing to be wired when you're trying to go to bed. So 10 o'clock, really slow down. When you go upstairs or wherever your bedroom is, make sure it's conducive to sleep. If you've got stuff all around it, take everything away. You're not doing this at 10 o'clock. You should be prepared to go into your bedroom with a bed that looks comfortable, doesn't have anything on it. That's another thing. The temperature. We always lower our temperature at night, because if the room is too hot, you're not going to be able to sleep. Or if it's too cool, you're not going to be able to sleep. That's something else. Trying to read a book, if it's a good book and it's a pleasant book. Some people really say that helps them to, 9 o'clock, I get into a book. I've been reading, let's say, I read a chapter a night or something, but it's a pleasant book. It's a happy book. That's okay. You don't want your brain to be too active. That is just, it's a huge issue. Again, I wouldn't recommend having water, because what are you going to do with water at 10 o'clock? You're going to get up at 3 o'clock and you're going to go to the bathroom, and therefore you're up and you're not going to be able to get back to sleep very, very well. But I do think your bedroom has to be conducive to sleep. No TV, no sounds, a clean, neat bed to get into. So you're not doing those things as you're going into your bedroom. They're already done. Your room is conducive to sleep. Trying to think if there's anything else that would really be helpful. Your diet. A lot of people realize that if they go, and this is tried and true, if they eat lighter foods, if they don't consume, we talked about a healthy diet, it's good for your brain, it's good for sleep also. Spicy foods are not good. If you really have a challenge with sleep, you're going to try anything. So try to eat lighter foods. Sometimes people even eat 5 meals a day, small meals a day. That heavy meal, 5, 6, 7 o'clock at night, may just be too much for you. And then depending on what time you go to bed. But I think my recommendation is you must prepare for bed. And was very hard for me, because I would just, watch the news and then I'd go upstairs and I'm just ready for bed. I didn't do anything to prepare to get ready for bed. Some people take a warm bath. They say that really works. I tried that, but that woke me up because, I don't like baths anyway, but anyway, a shower. I was sort of ready to go out after I took my shower. You have to try things that work for you. Some people say a nice warm bath, maybe some bubble bath in it, really calms you down and makes that work. You have to try these things. You can't just say, I can't sleep. Try these little tips. And as I said, I go to the doctors, and it's like I go once a year or every 6 months. And I really had it that the night before. I think I woke up around 3 o'clock, never went back to bed. And it was fresh in my mind. So that's why I said, I'm not sleeping. And then she offered the pill. But she did say, have you tried other things? And I really have. And so then I was so serious when the pill didn't work. I said, I'm not taking it. I've got to do it myself. So you have to be focused on what might be keeping you awake. And I know for me, one was that TV, and the news. The news is not good. So I watch it at 6 o'clock and I don't turn it on again, the news on anyway, on at night anymore after 6 o'clock. So there's little tips, but you have to figure out, what do you think is causing you not to sleep? And the big thing is, you got to prepare for bed. Before when she recommended that I take this pill, I used to just go upstairs and I'd flop. I didn't care. Now, our bed is prepared for sleep. It's dark. It's cool, or it's appropriately warm enough for the time of the year. You just have to prepare for sleep. You just can't, as I used to, go in ready to go to sleep, and then my eyes, I'm there like this. I'm not sleeping. So I hope that helps.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. And Ted, did you have a question? See, I think he's on. Mary Angela.
I think Ted's having a challenge. He's unmuted. I think it's his computer. This happened yesterday. Diabetes.
Okay.
Ted, can you use the chat again to type your question? Remember what the chat was at the bottom? There's a chat window. If you can click in there, I might be able to send you a message. Tells you. Let's see if this works. Oh, I didn't type, sorry.
You know, Ted, if you want to email me, I can email you back. Do you have email? Yes? Do you think he does, Mary Angela?
Oh yeah, no, he does. I can send you his email address, and Ted, I can email you. I'm also happy to set up a time with you, Ted, to try and troubleshoot this for you. There's ways to test your mic on Zoom, but it's something we should try and do together. So next week, I'll reach out to you before Wednesday. I'm here on Monday again, and maybe we can catch up and try and get your computer back to working, because I see that you're unmuted, but I can't see why in the world the mic won't work for you. So I'm so sorry.
Okay, any other questions? Sorry, Ted, but she'll fix you, and you could always, Mary Angela, he can always email me then once.
Yep.
I'll be fine.
I'll share your information.
Okay, thank you.
It's Claire again. Can I ask another question?
Sure.
Everything I think that you said was wonderful, but it's all now couched in the, around the pandemic. Like, I never had depression before, but I have it now. So just, I wonder what your thoughts on that are.
Well, I think COVID has changed our lives. So Claire, you're not alone. I think we are people persons. I mean, we like to socialize. We like to get out. We like to do our own thing. And with the shutdowns and or the fear of another shutdown is making everyone anxious. So I really feel, I think you're absolutely okay to say that you're depressed. I'm depressed. I can't stand it. I have a sister who is in a personal care community in Gladwin. I have not seen her since shutdown. So that was March. And as I call her up, she is not the same, because she needs her family around her and she's not seeing us. And I know she would be better, 100% better, if they could allow some type. I mean, I work at Cathedral Village. We have visitation, but certainly with COVID, it's not the same as it used to be. But where Adrienne is, she's just not able to see us, and it's depressing. It's depressing for her, and it's depressing for all of us. So therefore, I think it's okay to feel that way. And I think it's not going to get any better until the vaccine. And I'm hoping we're going to get good news about the vaccine happening. But I think your depression is with what a lot of people are feeling. The only thing you can do, some of the things I talked about, brain health, reading a good book, calling people, calling friends that you haven't maybe seen for a while. As a matter of fact, yesterday I called a friend from the Poconos, and she was out in Scranton and she was having lunch with somebody. I said, well, thank you, I'll call you back. But you have to almost focus on that, because you don't want to get depressed, because depression causes other things. Depression causes lack of socialization. You don't want to get out. You don't want to get dressed in the morning. There's lots of things that can happen with depression. So you almost have to have a little to-do list. Write things down that you want to do. Because again, you're not alone. I don't think there's one person that would be honest with all of us to say that with this COVID-19, it is depressing. I mean, and then you see all these people still walking around without face masks on. I mean, that's depressing in itself. So we're in a very challenging time, and politics doesn't help, because along with everything that's happening, there's a lot of political ramifications that because of whatever has happened. So it's just really a very challenging time, but I think you have to focus on what you can do. Make that list that I talked to you about. Make a list of things that might help you. And again, if we can't do too much because of COVID-19, then we have to start creating these things that perhaps we can do. We used to do years ago, like chain letters or something. People would look forward to going to the mailbox. I think that's really something that we can get back into, something that, and if you've ever had any experiences with any of the arts, learn how to paint, do things that are going to mentally help you, even if your painting isn't the best. It's giving you a new experience. Reading books, things like that, and sharing books. I think that's good. Even if you can't have a group meet because of COVID, and it's not a family member, you might get a couple people say, let's get together on book read, and let's talk once a week, and let's get 30 pages, and we'll talk about those 30 pages over the phone. Anything you can do to keep your brain active. The computer use, if you have a computer, there's so much on the computer. I learned something. I'm not a YouTube fan. I don't mean it's good or bad. I just didn't know what a wealth of experience and information you could do on YouTube. Now, Mary Angelo, I'm sure you're laughing. Are you laughing, Mary Angelo? Because she's a computer whiz. So I went on YouTube. My husband's always on YouTube. I went on YouTube. You can find anything out. You start typing something on YouTube, and all you say is YouTube recipe for chocolate cake. You see, I love to cook. So you say YouTube recipe for chocolate cake. And then your computer will around and around. All of a sudden, this recipe comes 9,000 recipes for chocolate cake. YouTube is something wonderful if you have a computer. You don't have to be computer literate, believe me. All you have to put in YouTube, find a recipe for chocolate cake, and you've got it. And whatever you're interested in, it's great for history. It's great for movies, theaters, and it is free. Well, we have Comcast and it's free, but I think Verizon people, our son gets it and he has Verizon. So maybe that'll help you. I hope it does a little bit, Claire.
I got Ted's question in the chat here. He said, he's asking if there was a last slide. And then Claire said she also saw a last slide and would like to see it.
Okay.
So I don't know if you skipped over a last slide or.
That was it. For more information, I think I did.
Yeah.
That was the last slide.
And great, those are the website. Then I can include those links when I post this video.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's see if I have another. I don't think there's anything else. I'll go back to that, but oops. Okay, that was it. Well, you're very good, Ted. You got that. I mean, you're keeping me on my tail here. I got the last slide now. Well, anyway, thank you all.
Well, thank you so much, Jerry, for being here. Thank you.
Thank you all for attending. I appreciate it so much. Bye. See you next month.
Have a great day, everyone. Thanks again.
Okay, bye.